Greetings everybody, welcome to the MaffmanJones movie channel. I'm your host John Maffio, and today's featured film is Kingsman, The Golden Circle. It's directed by Matthew Vaughn once again, and it stars everybody you love who's still around from the first film, including Taron Egerton and Mark Strong. And the story continues right where the last film left off. Eggsy is just doing his thing, being a Kingsman, when some people show up to terrorize the neighborhood. Eggsy and crew have to take down the newest antagonist, who is Julianne Moore, who is this weird over-the-top woman who has this 50s Wonderland paradise in the middle of the jungle, and she's got all these gadgets, these robotic dogs, and it's really, really crazy and ridiculous and over the top, and that's what this movie really is, and I really liked it. People have been criticizing this movie for being a little bit overcooked and a little bit obnoxious in terms of the action, which I kind of agree with. If you take your eyes off the screen for one moment, you might be like, wait, what's, what, huh? But I still think that there's some great craftsmanship to the action in this movie and this franchise, and I give Matthew Vaughn credit for just basically just throwing us in an adrenaline rush for basically 2 hours, a little bit over 2 hours. The movie's relentless in terms of action in some points, but I was pretty much okay with it until the very end. This very last scene of action where I was like, do we really need this to happen now? I only felt the nature of being overstuffed at the very end of the movie, but for the most part, I was okay with everything that was going on. In terms of everything else, everybody does a great job acting-wise. Taron Egerton kills it again as this character, and he really holds it down. You may have seen in the trailers, but I'm not going to say it outright if you haven't seen the trailers. There's a certain character that's in this movie who is in the first one, who comes back and does a really good job. I really like Mark Strong. I really like him in movies, and he should be in more movies, but I'm glad that Matthew Vaughn is giving him work because he also kills it with his sternness, but he has like this charming sternness about himself. Julianne Moore, I didn't like. It was taking me the whole movie to be like, what is she doing? Like, what's her thought process as an antagonist? And I liked her lair. I kind of enjoyed her wacky plan that kind of falls in line with Samuel L. Jackson's plan from the first film. But, like, her performance was really, it was kooky in a way that kind of took me out of the movie. And even up until the very end with her character, I'm like, what are you doing? Pedro Pascal, Oberyn Martell, shows up with a lasso, and he reminded me of Indiana Jones, and he made me cry in one moment. I really liked his character. Channing Tatum, not in the movie enough, but when he does show up, he has a great screen presence. Love him. You have Jeff Bridges, too, and Halle Berry. They're both fine. They have small roles, but they do what they can with the roles they got. Visually, I think the film is outstanding. Visually, there's a lot of cool things going on here that fall in line with the first film. Very high-paced, crazy adrenaline rush. And you kind of, if you don't look at the screen for one moment, you might miss something. But it is, if you're into it, fun for the entirety of the movie. You may get a little overstuffed, though, at the end. But yeah, I didn't have a problem with the over-the-top zaniness of the action of the movie until the very end. And also, I had this weird feeling against Julianne Moore's performance. But other than that, I really like the sequel. And I think it does capitalize on what it built in the first film, and there's a lot going on here in terms of the world of the Kingsman and the Statesman now. I also really enjoyed the story, even though I feel like this film does punch you in the face from a plot standpoint in the first 20 minutes or so. It really annoyed me in the moment, even though I was really engaged in the story from beginning to end. In that moment, I was like, really? There's a moment where it really annoyed me that Matthew Vaughn took this choice story-wise. Don't ever say Matthew Vaughn doesn't have balls, because he has balls. If you didn't see Kick-Ass, or even X-Men First Class, he takes risks with his Hollywood blockbusters. He really does. So I should have expected something like this to happen in the movie, but when it did, I was annoyed, but then I got better for it. But ultimately, this film has a lot of heart, both in film craftsmanship and just the way that our characters and story are driven. I really liked where the story went overall. And again, I think it's all a lot of thanks to Taron Egerton, whose performance in this movie kills it. And when everything else falls to crap, if it does for you watching this movie, you will still fall behind Taron Egerton because he's such a great charismatic actor. What he stands for as a character and why he does what he does in this movie, I was totally behind it. And with this film having heart, there are moments where he does slow down to give us great character moments. And there are a handful of character moments where I was on the verge of tears or just emotions welling up. Certain characters who I thought I didn't really care about, I ended up really caring about when these characters had their moments to shine. Overall, though, I really enjoyed Kingsman, The Golden Circle. I really enjoyed the first one. And I had a feeling that it would be a fun ride because Matthew Vaughn is a competent director. but he did some really wacky things with this movie. Some worked, some didn't, but I think majorly, I think what he tried here worked. I like the performances for the most part. I like the story where it went, even though it is a giant punch to the face in the beginning of the movie. I love Taron Egerton, and I love his character. And I think if they continue the story with a third one, I'm very excited to see what happens next, because I love this world that Matthew Vaughn created cinematically with the Kingsman universe. It's a lot of fun, and it has a heart of gold, and I'm going to give Kingsman 2 a 4 out of 5 stars. It's a darn good movie. But now I want to know from you guys, what did you think of Kingsman: The Golden Circle? Let me know in the comments down below. Did you enjoy this more or less than the first one, and do you want to see a third movie in the future? Also, if you enjoyed my review, please like the video, subscribe so you won't miss a video ever again, and check out the rest of my stuffs down below. Also, if you have not downloaded Stardust, please do follow me for more mini reviews, 30 seconds or less. It's a great app. It's a great place to find out what people are thinking about a particular movie or TV show in 30 seconds or less. It's a lot of fun, so if you haven't downloaded it, go check it out. Link is down below. I'm John Matthew, aka MaffmanJones, and I'll see you guys next time.